Still live on Joy News today. Thanks for joining us. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has sworn in the Ayawaso West Bogon by-election Violence Commission of Inquiry, assuring that they will be given necessary logistics to ensure success of the commission's work. Now, this happened some 10 minutes ago at Jubilee House. We'll bring you the details of what happened later. But in a related development, Deputy African Union Commission Chairperson Kwesi Korte is pushing for the Justice Short Commission to hold a public hearing in the Ayawaso West Wogon violence probe. He argues this will be key for the successful resolution of the current disagreement about what exactly transpired during the by-election. You recall on Thursday, security analyst Adams Bona proposed a public hearing of the commission. Speaking to Joy News at the AU's headquarters in Ethiopia, Ambassador Korte expressed optimism the commission will do a good job.
We have a tradition of this democracy, which we cherish, and we don't want to lose it.
In terms of resolving this matter, Ghana, we've set up a commission of inquiry to look into the disturbances. You think that is a way to go and should be back?
It is a good beginning. I know I'm short. The others in the committee, I know Patrick Achampon, who used to be IGP,
yes.
And I don't know who else is there.
There's Professor
Mensah Bose, a professor of law, my very good friend. I mean, I think that that committee is good, and they will be impartial and they will come out of it. No. We have been lucky that this happened. It has served us notice.
You think the committee would be able to unravel this and give us far
Yes, I'm sure they will sit not in camera, they will sit open. People will come and give evidence, and if you hear the evidence, and they will come up with the report, and they will be implemented. No, I think that when I saw the committee, it gives me hope.
So you think a public hearing will be the best?
I think a public hearing will be the best. You see, it's important to air out your dirty linen sometimes. It cleans out everything. You know, that is why our democracy, young as it is that strong. Everything is done publicly. So you see it. And when the people start condemning it, you know it. You know, there's nothing like transparency and openness. And to influence people's minds, to serve as warning to all of us, to also serve as an education that, look, we have something that we cherish and we don't want to lose it. And I think Ghanaians have come out clearly to indicate that, hey, be careful.
Now, Ambassador Korte has meanwhile called for a halt to the trend where political party members are recruited into security agencies.
You see, what makes a state is the monopoly of violence by the police and the military. That is the backbone of the state. When you have one armed central authority which has access to arms, like the army, and is organized centrally in a very organized manner, the way our army is or the police is, that is the backbone that gives the state its validity.
But currently we are actually seeing a trend where they are recruiting such individuals into these state agencies.
I'm saying that. So when that central authority, military authority, is divided, then you have a civil war. So we should be careful that we maintain that central authority, and, you know, arms must be controlled and must be regulated. The army is organized and regulated in a hierarchy. They have discipline. Vigilante groups do not have that discipline.
And so the if we dilute our state powers, it could break down the discipline.
That is why we have to be concerned about that.
So we must perhaps take a look at keeping it as professional. It should be the recruitment
make it professional. Go for ability and quality.
Not party foot soldiers.
Not party foot soldiers. You know, that's very important. Will you come in? Yeah.
Now, we stay with this issue because former Chief of Staff under the Rawlings administration, Nana Tudaze, says government's decision to set up a commission of inquiry into the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election violence is not the best way out. There have been concerns that the commission of inquiry may not provide a swift and definite action on the matter. Speaking on Upfront with Raymond Akwa, Mr. Daze said government can establish the fact of the violence within 72 hours if it's really committed.
There's a way out. I said it's not the only vehicle. I think, for instance, that, look, what are we looking for? We are looking for who deployed the unit, the troops. Brian Achampon, Honorable, says hit it. No, so. Okay. We assume that if you ask the question, can we identify the personnel? If he deployed them, he can answer it. He can supply us the list. Thirdly, what was the instructions or the mission he gave them? We know that one. What weapons were issued? We don't know. What vehicles were issued? We don't know. But did the police authorize it? All these things can be investigated and established within 72 hours by the PIPS. You know, PIPS is the police
professional standards
unit. It's very simple. It's very simple. They go to national security and demand. Brian, the honorable minister, you instructed the people to go. No, say yes, sir. Give us a list of the people who went. What weapons did they use? So in the military and formed forces, there's a process of accountability. You understand? Whatever is given out, you sign for. When you come back, they check the amount of bullets you've used and whatnot. It's as simple as that. We can get that same information in 72 hours. Now, the follow-up is that if, like you said, you saw police vehicles being used, the police have an obligation to investigate how the vehicles got out there. The buck stops with the IGP. How did police vehicles get into that place? I heard the EC. She said the police people who were assigned to the, the election, they were sitting, they were unarmed, they were quietly sitting there. If some other people come in police vehicle, shouldn't we be asking the IGP questions? So long as he is the person by the Constitution in charge of the, deployment, how's the exact word they use? The operational control. Mm-hmm. How did his vehicles get there?
It's live on Joy News today. We stay with this story, but let's bring you what happened just a few minutes ago at Jubilee House, where Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia swore in the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election violence commission on inquiry, assuring they would be given necessary logistics to ensure success of the commission's work.
All the necessary arrangements and logistics will be provided to make sure that your work proceeds impartially and without any inhibitions. So I congratulate you and wish you the very best as you will get cooperation, I'm sure, as you know, from all the institutions that are relevant. Really historic, if you look at it from what Chairperson to the Commission has said. We've had incidents of violence at by-elections, whether you're talking about Talensi, Chereponi, Etiwa. But I think this is the first time any government has set up a commission of inquiry to get to the bottom of it. So I think it's historic, and it shows a difference in looking out for transparency and to be able to deal with this issue fundamentally, so that it's for the future, it bodes well for our country as a whole.
Now, speaking on behalf of the Commission, Chairman Francis Emil Short assured the Commission will carry out its mandates transparently and in a sincere manner to find lasting solutions to electoral violence.
We consider this to be an extremely important assignment in the national interest. I would also like to express my appreciation to the words of confidence that you have expressed in us, particularly your statement that we have been selected because we are considered to be men and women of integrity. We would like to assure all and sundry that we shall carry out our mandate transparently, objectively, and in a fair manner. And we would like to urge all and sundry to give us all the support that we would need.
We stay with this story because Member of Parliament for Ododo Nilante Vanderpoy has alleged that the man who slapped the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, has been on the wanted list of the National Democratic Congress for some time now. Speaking on the AM show earlier, Mr. Vanderpoy said the suspect robbed some NDC members and later ran to the northern region but returned to join the invisible forces when NPP assumed the reins of power.
The invisible forces, the Delta forces we saw the last time, were more kitted than even our armed forces. Yes, you saw the guns they were using, fresh guns. They were using fresh guns, they had the gear, they had the mask, they have the head protectors, they have the body protectors. They look at the shoes they were wearing, combat shoes. Look at the cars and the trucks they were driving. The army and the police don't have those things. We have policemen who are put at designated points and they don't even have weapons. The weapons they hold, sometimes they shoot, they don't, it doesn't fire. And these people have weapons, and these people are well treated. Have you seen some of their videos? They have cars, they enjoy life. They go to swimming pool, they enjoy life, they go to places. They are living lavishly. Lavishly, they are living lavishly because they are well catered for. While our regular security forces are languishing. Look, go to Accra Central Police Station. Go and see the accommodation situation of the policemen there. Go to the barracks across the country.
Like that. The government's posture.
So that is what the government should be.
All the government's posture towards that sort of arrangement.
So that is what government should be looking at, and not Keith bandits. Some of them armed robbers, known armed robbers. Keep them.
Do you know any of them who are said to be armed?
I know the guy who slapped Sam George. We've known him to be an armed robber who have domiciled in my constituency at Old Fadama for some time. He was being pursued. He ran to the north. He hid himself, and he came down when there's a change of government. He supported the people to harass and beat up and kill some NDC members in Old Fadama.
You have evidence to show that?
Why not? Who? We know him. We have always known him. He is the son of the late chief of Nanton, the one who slapped Sam George. We know him. And just yesterday we've heard that he's been involved in assault and death of a young boy at Sotuom. And the police are being given the pressure to release him and not to prosecute him. But we'll follow that case and we'll pursue it.
Again, you said what?
I said just yesterday we heard that he was involved in a murder of a young boy in Sotuom. He handcuffed the boy and beat him up. And the Sotuom police is being given pressure to release him and not to pursue the case. We are following keenly from the Sotuom police station, and we will make Ghanaians know what is happening. Because this boy cannot go scot-free. This boy cannot be walking on the street of Accra in the name of being a member of a so-called invisible forces.
Now, 2 men are in the custody of the Sotuom police for allegedly beating their houseboy to death. An eyewitness says he saw the 27-year-old man handcuffed to a pillar in the house as he was pounded many times with a pestle, ostensibly for stealing from his employers. He says the beating continued at another location. His story has been corroborated by other people who also witnessed the incident. And Sotuom Police Commander Superintendent Kwame J.C. Afari says the suspects claimed the deceased was beaten by a mob. He further stated they will be arraigned before court on Tuesday. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
Friends of the deceased gather outside the Sotuom police station as they struggle to come to terms with the fact that they will never see their friend again. One of them says he saw the deceased handcuffed to a pillar and then pounded many times with a pestle by his employer and his friend.
When we got to the house, we heard screams from the place, so we tried to see what was going on there. So we asked people around and they were like, it's our friend Smiler, they are beating over there. So So when we go inside and then we saw the state of Smiler, the man who was beating him stopped beating him. And then we asked what he has done, because he was handcuffed to a pillar in the house, and then they were using fufu stick about this feet and then some brick stones to hit the guy. But when they saw us, they stopped. So we were all standing with him. I was trying to talk to the boy. When I speak to the boy can't speak to me back. When he tried speaking, he was doing like he has something going on inside him.
Another eyewitness who lives very close to the house where the incident happened says he heard some warning shots from the compound of the suspects, followed by loud screams as they tortured him to admit to stealing. His side of the story was confirmed by other residents.
They used weapons like stick and some iron rods, the pieces of iron rods, to hit the boy at back till the guy died. So when they noticed that the guy is going down unconsciously, they took the guy to Desert Hospital. The guy did not survive. They used handcuff the guy through pillar. So they fold the guy back beside the pillar. So they hit the guy at back. I heard a gunshot. There's a warning shot in the morning. But that everybody should not get closer to where the thing is going on.
A brother of the two people accused of killing the 27-year-old man says the deceased is a thief, stressing he was killed by a mob.
So we went into the first entrance, and then he took the next exit out. So while he was running, we tried chasing him. And as you know, within these slums, you have people chasing him too. So people started chasing him, shouting, "Hey, July, July." Before we know, they had caught him, started beating him.
Investigators are here at the residence of one of the suspects, speaking very vital information connected to this case. We've been speaking to the Soweto police commander, who says that the suspects will be arraigned. He also tells us that the suspects claim that the deceased was actually assaulted by a mob.
They are alleging they were having series of thefts. This missing, that missing, here and there. So they suspected him. So yesterday, they queried him, and then he admitted on a mobile phone. So they took him to where he sold it. They wanted to retrieve the mobile phone plus all other items that got missing in the house. Now, they said when they were going, they got to a point, the guy slipped from their hand and ran away. So they chased him into a house. They searched for him, they couldn't find him, so they were going, they decided to go back. And there they saw the guy coming from a bathroom or a washroom there, and then just pop into them. Now, at the time he ran away, they raised the alarm, thief, thief. So according to them, some guys came around. So when they later found him, the guys beat him. And they took him into their vehicle, trying to move away from the scene. But when they were on their way going, they realized that the guy was not feeling comfortable. He was dying. So they took him to a nearby hospital, and he was pronounced dead, just like that. So the story they are telling us is what I have said, but we have to do a lot of investigations into this matter.
Now, an 11-year-old boy at Zwarungu in the Upper East region has become a school dropout, living with badly scarred skin and sores after he was doused with petrol and set ablaze for allegedly spying on a woman in a bathroom. Though the primary 4 pupil, who was in the company of 2 other boys at the time, denied being the peeping Tom, he was accosted and subjected to the ordeal. 2 years on, and Ayimbiha Abelinkira is seeking justice. Joy News' Upper East correspondent Albert Sori has more.
Almost 2 years ago, a 9-year-old Ayimbiha volunteered to work as a hand on a tomato farm so he could always earn a pocket change. One day in November 2017, he was sent to buy some petrol to be used to power a generator on the farm. He was in the company of 2 other children. According to Ayimbiha, On the way back, the other two children peeped into a bathroom built outside a house. Incidentally, there was a woman inside the bathroom who raised alarm because she felt they had been deliberately looking at her nakedness. The other two children ran away, but Ayembeha did not, because according to him, he did not commit the offense. Even if he wanted to run away, he could not have, because he was holding a plastic container which carried the petrol they had been sent to buy. The man had come there to drink pito, so when the woman shouted that we had peeped in to see her nakedness, he came to me and asked if I was the one who did that. I told him I was not the one, but rather the other two children who were running away. He then snatched the petrol from me and started pouring it on my body. The woman watched him, but said nothing. Then he struck a matchstick and set me ablaze. He said he wanted me to die there and waste away. Ayembeha says he fell to the ground wailing and kicking in pain until his two friends ran back and started throwing sand at him in an attempt to put out the fire. Other people then came to his rescue. They caught the man and told him that if he did not take me to the hospital, they would do to him same as he did to me. So he took me to the hospital. The assailant was arrested at the hospital after health officials gave police a tip-off. According to Ayembeha's father, they were advised to settle the matter outside of court so that the assailant, whose name they only know as Old Man, could take care of the boy's medical bills until he fully recovered. He said they agreed to this because they were also told that going to court would have meant that they take care of the boy themselves until the court case was over, and then maybe their expenses would be reimbursed by the assailant. I was in Kumasi doing menial jobs and could not have afforded the money for the boy's medical bills. So I felt that since the assailant had agreed to take care of him, there was no need to insist on going to court. However, Ayembeha's assailant has now reneged on his side of the agreement and has sent the boy back to his family. According to Ayembeha, he had been living with the assailant and his family as part of the agreement for them to take care of him. But as time went on, they started to stigmatize him. They would shout at me and tell me not to come near them because I had a bad odor. They even gave me a separate drinking cup and a plate, and I was not allowed to touch anything in their house. I was in class 4 when the incident took place. I should be heading to class 6 by now, but I have not been to school since the incident. At the time of Joy News's visit, Ayembeha's injuries had been dressed. According to his mother, his whole body had been bandaged in the beginning, and it was depressing for her anytime she saw her son at the hospital. She says presently there are times when the injuries get so bad to the extent that nobody wants to sit near Ayembeha because of the bad smell. And all this is due to the fact that sometimes they are unable to afford the cost of getting the injuries cleaned and the bandages changed.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Now, our German intern, Jeremy Brunner, grew up with stereotypes about Africa, corruption, diseases, and poverty. Nevertheless, after several long-term stays in Ghana, that perception seems to have changed. In the following feature, he explains his perspective on our mother Ghana.
When I arrived in Ghana for the first time, I was overwhelmed. I was 18 years old, just finished the senior high school in Germany and came to this country to volunteer for the Ghanaian NGO Theatre for Social Change. I came heavily packed. In my bag were, amongst others, a bulk of medical supplies for all cases, a mosquito net against malaria, a belt with a zipper on the inside to hide my money from thieves. Not in my bag, decent clothing. As part of my volunteer program, I have been sensitized for stereotypes about Africa in a preparatory seminar. I learned that Africa is a culturally diverse continent with 54 countries, 1.2 billion inhabitants. I learned that according to the International Monetary Fund, Africa contains 5 out of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. But despite learning all of that, the content of my bag represented the subconscious image of Africa I was carrying in my head. Diseases, malaria, criminality. A lot of time when Ghana makes it into German news, it's about electronic waste. Recently, I was on a German Ghanaian festival about digital issues. It made it into the most popular German news. And where did one of the German news team go for the future? To the dump of Akbobloshi.
Auch eine Fundgrube, die herum eine florierende Industrie entstanden ist. Ausrangierte Computer werden in unzähligen Repair-Shops.
The issue is not that these stories are untrue. Yes, there is a huge problem of pollution through electronic waste in Akbobloshi. Yes, there are problems of sanitation, especially in Accra with its choked gutters. Yes, there are diseases like cholera and malaria in Ghana. But there's also the Ghana with an emerging middle class and a rapidly growing economy that rises the interest of international businesses. There's also the Ghana that shines by its well-established democracy and a vivid public political debate. The Ghana that, according to Reporters Without Borders, scores high in terms of press freedom. Placed 23 worldwide, even before the press of Spain, France and the United Kingdom. And the Ghana that does not consist only of people relying on charity, but has also banks who themselves give donations to the less privileged. But most important, most things in Ghana are simply like in my home country in Germany. Perfectly normal. The famous Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie summarizes the dilemma of prevalent Africa stereotypes.
The single story creates stereotypes, and the problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but that they are incomplete. They make one story become the only story. Of course, Africa is a continent full of catastrophes, the immense ones such as the horrific rapes in Congo, and depressing ones such as the fact that 5,000 people apply for one job vacancy in Nigeria. But there are other stories that are not about catastrophe, and it is very important, it is just as important to talk about them. The consequence of the single story is this: it robs people of dignity. It makes our recognition of our equal humanity difficult. It emphasizes how we are different rather than how we are similar.
You're misunderstood, you can't be misunderstood. You're so clear, I'm your Frank Underwood. Your needs I won't undermine, never put them under mine.
On my first visit to Ghana, I brought medicaments because I didn't know that there were a lot of pharmacies here. I brought a special mosquito net because I didn't know I can get them everywhere in Accra. I brought a special belt to hide my money because I was afraid of thieves. When I come to Ghana today, I leave those things home. Instead, I bring my decent clothes because I know dressing well is appreciated. When I'm asked by my German friends to talk about Ghana, I first start with a preamble. What I tell can always be only one story, told out of a certain perspective. Mostly, it will be biased on the fact that I spent most of my time in Accra, and by the kind of friends I have. There is no one picture of this wonderful country. There are only perspectives, and they are as many as people that ever talked about this country.